instant ATM. Maybe you might just necessarily need to pay just extra 500 if you want your name on it. But then again, if you don't want your name on it, you get an instant ATM and go, and then maybe much later when you have time, you come and they print your name on it. I know during my service here, that was always done. Instant. And you realize that things are evolving. So INEC, this is a good move, but we really wish and hope for more.
Yeah.
We're being Oliver Twist right now.
Yeah, it's not just even the matter of being Oliver Twist. If we want to make our electioneering process more credible than what is obtainable now, we need to take advantage of new technologies.
Sure.
Especially in the areas of printing cards and elections. I want to see a time whereby I will stay in the comfort of my zone or in the comfort of my house
and vote, and
just flip my ATM, my voter's card, behind, and there is a code, maybe a number that has been generated by INEC that belongs to that card alone, carrying my name. Go to the website of INEC, insert the code, and I will see the ballot papers electronically, and then click and submit in the comfort of my zone. And if I go back to do the same thing, the system should be able to tell me that, no, you voted at so-so time, at so-so location. So at that point, we'll be able to do away with, manual voting. You going to stand under the rain.
Even recharge cards tell you, you have used this card. This card has been used by you or by another person. Else. So why can't we have INEC do that? That's a good point. Why can't we have them? I can sit, if that is the case, then most of us would even have a problem. Go sit in the comfort of our homes, flip your card over, you have your code, you have your barcode or something, you scan into your phone, and you vote. And if that is done, I believe with that you can even check multiple voting. Because once you voted once with this card, you can't vote anymore. The card is gone. And then when you try doing it again, there probably should even be a means to trace you and arrest you at the end of the day.
And one other thing that maybe the viewer out there will be asking is that, okay, what happens to the other cards that are with INEC? Can't anybody just use it to vote? No, the system should be able to tell you. You know that, look, maybe the system should also come up with a place whereby you'll be able to thumb print, to scan your thumb print and know that, okay, this card belongs to you.
Even codes.
Or codes.
Thumb print is too fast. It could be a situation of where you put in details, a code is being sent to the particular phone number you used in registering.
That is it.
With that,
and you
now enter the code. With that, no one can actually just get anybody's card and vote, because that code you need is going to go to that person's phone.
Person's phone number that you supplied, while registering. I think that there are lots that we really need to leverage on as far as technology is concerned. I think INEC should really do more. These 10 million cards that are yet uncollected. Nigeria is a country whereby we don't really value data collection
at all.
We don't value data collection. We don't value data management. We don't value data preservation. INEC should probably check out. Don't be surprised that maybe a handful of these 10 million are no longer alive.
Possibly.
Maybe a handful of them are no longer alive. Most of them must have maybe changed location. And this is a card that you cannot use in a place where is not the original place you registered. So I think INEC should calm down. For me, I think they should calm down and know how many figures they will be reeling out per day. Calm down, check out those people that are dead, those people that have relocated, those people that have traveled out, without collecting their PVCs. Get those ones out of the way, then give us the real figure.
What's the real figure?
Because now if you tell me 10 million, then 10 million is a whooping amount or a whooping number of people that have not gotten their PVCs. But let's know how many of them are dead. Let's know how many of them have traveled out of the shores of the country. Let's know how many of them have changed their locations. Because until you have all of that, you can't tell me that it's 10 million. What will a dead man do with a PVC? Of what benefit is the PVC for a man that has relocated from Abuja to Lokoja?
Do they even have, another question is, do they even have the level of technological advancement or the level of manpower to be able to even identify these things? All they do is reel out numbers, and 10 million have no, but do they have the level of manpower, commitment, and technological advancement to be able to identify if these people, okay, now, I know Nigeria is evolving, most things are imputed into the database. So you could go there and look at death certificates and complain, do a cross-check. But do they have the manpower, like you said, they should calm down, do they have the patience, and are they ready to go through this length to actually get their job done perfectly. That is one thing we should also look at. We might be giving these ideas, but are they really ready to get their job done perfectly, or they want to get their job done and go away? Now, like it or not, resources were put into these cards, money was pumped into this particular segment to get these things done. So with all those that amount of card not being collected, that is one wastage we should actually be looking at. So I think they should really look into that part and get that one done. But
yeah, very true. I like the word wastage. You know, in this country we cry that we don't have resources, but we end up wasting the little that we have. Now INEC is rolling out 100 and something billion naira to conduct election next year. I can tell you for free that we've seen some statistics that a handful of the billions will be released for feeding of security officials. And the question that really comes to mind is the fact that, are they going to eat all their life food? You know, all the food they need in their lives, while conducting an election?
The first question is, we might end up seeing that amount of money was being disbursed, and then you find the security operatives coming to protest that they've not eaten for 2 days.
That they've not eaten, or they've not even been paid their allowances.
So the money is...
Yeah.
Somewhere it's going to that when we're yet to identify, but now we need to confirm.
Yeah, I think the earlier we do away with wastage, especially as it relates to our national life, the better for us.
You find over budgeting for things that are not necessary. I still keep making reference to when I was camping, and you would see, you know how much is being reeled out for core members, but when you get there, the kind of food you eat, you see cows coming in and you see fish coming out for you to eat. Wow. So when you look at all these things for just this segment, imagine what is going to happen for collecting that amount of money to feed security men. Trust me, expect the worst. They might probably not even see the food to eat in the first place.
Another question that really comes to mind is the fact that why feed them? Why not give them their allowance? They should look for what to eat for themselves. You know, if you have a particular benchmark for their allowance, make those allowances available to them. Let them eat, let them go settle themselves, because you might go and prepare something that maybe some of them don't like eating. So that means they will still go back to spend their money.
And then that food will waste.
And that food will be a waste. Well, wastage should not be part of us, and we just hope that INEC is listening and they will do the needful. And the NCC to send SMS to owners as well. I think the collaboration is going to be a laudable one if NCC will collaborate with INEC, but I hope it's not going to be a seasonal collaboration, because we're having a general elections, and INEC really wants to go into collaboration with NCC, and after the elections it ends there. These PVCs and the continuous voters registration, I believe, will still be ongoing, and if all of these technologies are anything to go by, then we should be able to make these things a continuous process. So that
they should have between this election and the next election to improve, to improve on their manpower, to retrain and train their staffs, improve on their technologies, find new ways to make it easier for the next election, find new ways to make it better for the next election. So we just hope to see, aside this partnership, it shouldn't just be one partnership with NCC. For Nigeria, we have a problem with continuity. So it might just be this is it, and then they are done, and then there is no continuity. Someone new comes in, and then he'll bring his own new idea, and then he wouldn't even want to continue when this person stops. So we hope to see that continuity. This is a good improvement. This is a good one, partnering with NCC. But then there should be further partners that will assist them with technological advancement. If they can get to train their staffs to get these new processes that we need, then I think by the next election, before then, when they begin the voters registration again, we should be able to see new ways to make it easier for they themselves. That's what they don't realize. All these things will make it easier for they themselves and for the masses as well. But we look forward to seeing better improvements. Yeah. I have hope that there's going to be better improvements.
Well, we look forward to seeing all of the improvements, and these improvements will not just come, in a twinkle of an eye, if we don't really have it as part of our itineraries as a nation to achieve. And INEC, for me, from 2015 up to date, I am still trying to, place my hands on what improvement level, they've been through, considering the fact that we still use the same, what do you call it, card reader machine. And we've seen instances where the card reader machine fails to accept or recognize a particular card of very highly placed individual in the country. In 2015, we saw the same thing. The former president was unable to be captured by the card reader machine, even though there are manual ways of accrediting, voters. I believe that between 2015 and now, INEC should have stepped up, to probably trying the electronic voting system like we saw in Kaduna State. Try that and let's see how it plays out. We have elections coming up in Osun State. I expected them to, try all of this in the pockets of, states where we have by-elections and, key elections like the governorship election that's coming up. In Ekiti, I expected them to also, lay hands on some of these things and see how it's going to play out. But the same thing that we saw in 2015 is likely what we're going to see in 2019.
Yeah,
and 4 years down the line, no clear step of improvement, even though we had some times ago that they were upgrading the card reader machine, but that is not enough. If we have to advance, let's start taking the giant step, in ensuring that, okay, this step that we're taking is towards so end, but we don't really have that roadmap coming from them. So at this point, I think INEC, we'll keep talking about INEC because this is the only empire body that has been saddled with the responsibility of carrying out elections in our country. And until our elections are seemingly, are seamless and seemingly fair, transparent and credible, we'll keep talking about INEC because without INEC, there won't be an election. So the more, or the earlier they understand all of this, the better they start taking advantage of technology, the better for our electioneering process as far as Nigeria is concerned. 2023 is just around the corner because for me, 2019 is already here.
Yes,
the next point of call is 2023. So what are we going to be doing on or before that time?
Well, we've said it all right now, and currently we hope INEC is going to make positive improvements towards them. As for the electronic voting, it still boils down to training and retraining. Maybe there might be really nothing wrong with it, but just that they've not given the staff the opportunities to be trained. So probably fine this year now, but let them work towards 2023. Train your staffs, make electronic voting available, perfect it, and then let's hope for the best. But for now, we're looking forward to a free and fair election. Yeah. So let them use what they have on ground and give us a credible, free and fair election. And then come 2023, they should train their staffs, they should upgrade their technological advancement, what they have there. They should also go ahead to bring in new ideas, bring in fresh partners that will assist them advance what they have technologically. And then I think I have hope and I believe come 2023, all the lapses that happened between 2015 and 2019 will be corrected.
All right, TUC appeal to state governors to support new minimum wage. I remember some of the governors came out to say, I've forgotten which particular governor actually came out to say that we are not elected to pay salaries alone. And now the Trade Union Congress is coming out to appeal to them to please support the new minimum wage. How many of them will actually come out to support? I remember when the minimum wage was jacked up to 20,000 to 18,000 by the former administration. There were a whole lot of outcries, and some states, said they were not ready to pay that amount. But at the end of the day, they all fell in line and, started paying that that amount. But now that they are raising the bar to about 56 or thereabout, we just hope that the state governors will do the needful. But come to look at it again, when this administration came into power, the national minimum wage, which a lot of Nigerians have termed as national poverty rate, is now, the same thing. You came into power, the minimum wage was at 18,000, and the first thing you did was to increase power tariff. The second thing you did was to increase pump price of fuel. And some other increment like that. And once you tamper with these two, the market forces is likely, to also affect other commodities. And that is why, today we find out that for you to get a bag of rice that you normally get at 7,500 or 8,000 maximum, is now 1,820. For you to get a bag of rice. So what you used to buy a bag of rice before cannot even give you half
at all
bag of rice as we speak. So when you tamper with some of these major factors that runs the economy, you're likely going to ground, your citizens, and that is what we've seen today. You increased all of this, and you left the minimum wage at 18,000. So what exactly are you pushing at? You know, I think a reasonable administration should have, first of all, consider its workers, because these are the people that are really the drivers of the economy. You know, if the drivers of the economy are affected psychologically, mentally, you know that at the end of the day, even the 18,000 cannot put food on your table. You know, at that point, you might just be pushed to go do some stuff that will be out of, you know, out of context or out of your jurisdiction. And that is why, you know, we see a whole lot of, you know, issues cropping up today. But if the administration had, first of all, addressed the issue of the minimum wage. Now, they are saying that it's going to happen sometime in September and all that. Dates keep coming on and dates keep changing. And who knows, now that we are around the electioneering period, they might just use that opportunity to buy the hearts of the electorate and approve that minimum wage. But if that minimum wage is approved, how many governors will be able to pay? That's one. Number two, how many governors will even be part of those that will be willing to pay? Because, like I said earlier on, a few weeks ago, the governors came out to say that we are not just elected to pay salaries. So that is to tell you that, look, if you approve this money, federal government, you are on your own. And we've seen situations whereby these same governors will run to Abuja to get bailout funds and yet go back to their states and still not pay salaries. You know, we know of a whole lot of state governors that are still owing up to date. Some 1 year, some close to 2 years and all that. And you expect the civil servant to give his or her best? No. I'll wake up in the morning and go to my farm.
Well, talking about the minimum wage now, you made mention of a bag of rice. The minimum wage can't even get to a bag of rice currently. Now let's even go down to, a bag of rice is far-fetched. A mudu of rice that we used to buy at how much? 200, 150, now is going up to 700.
Wow.
I don't even bother buying rice anymore. I just look for someone that has a bag and I'll go and say, I want rice. Because I don't even stress myself buying rice anymore. And rice is like our major meal at which we consume here in Nigeria. Then the price of fuel has gone up for those that have cars. In fact, you realize that it's even easier paying your public transport than getting a car. Because when you think of how many, the number of times you buy fuel in a week, or the number of liters you buy in a week and it won't even carry you, then you just probably know that instead of buying that for 500, you just pay 200 and go to where you're going to. So it's like, it's not, the economic situation is not tallying with the amount that is on the ground. Now, with this again, how many state governments actually have the ability to have their own revenue to be able to pay their workers? Most states now don't even have resources they rely on. Most states don't even have, we have very few industrial states in Nigeria. We have most states that are mainly civil servants. So where is their money coming from? How would they be able to pay the increased minimum wage? So I feel it still falls back to the federal government. If you want these people to survive, then you have to cut down the prices of some things, especially the major things, food and fuel and tariff. Tariff is another one. The electricity tariff is another one that is really outrageous. And then you realize that you're stuck between that and buying fuel for your gen. So at the end of the day, it's a lose-lose for the regular citizens. And then you find most states that actually don't even have means of generating revenue for themselves. And then you're increasing the minimum wage to 56. They are definitely going to owe them. As they already with the 18, they are owing them. So they are most definitely going to owe them. So it's not going to make any impact whatsoever. It's just that some major things should come down for the regular man to be able to survive.
All right, TUC, we hope your appeal will not fall on deaf ears. And then the state governors will do the needful.
True.
Because as it stands...
They have already said it.
Yeah. You know, as it stands, until, you know, the state governors make up their mind to adhere to the new minimum wage, we might still be having a pocket of you know, delays here and there. But let's just wait until the minimum wage is approved.
Well, we're here to wait and watch.
We just hope that it will not be just a political statement.
It is this story that is really interesting me right now. It said the Not Too Young to Run movement in Gombe State has lamented the high cost of forms for expression of interest and nomination across various political parties in the country. Now, this is, I know not on this show, but I know I've spoken about this some time ago. Not too young to run. You have the young people coming out to run. How much are the nomination forms? How much are the tickets? Can they afford? Where do you expect them to get money from? That's when you now realize that that's when this same God federalism comes back to play. Because it's who can afford the ticket that we get. Where do you expect a youth, a Nigerian youth, with the current situation we have happening in the country, to get how many million to purchase a form just to become a local government chairman or even a governor? A governor is even way too far, a local government chairman or something. So it's like giving a dog a bone and then rubbing something bitter at the edge of the bone is like giving you something with the left hand and collecting it back with the right hand, not knowing. So it's like we're just stuck. Now, Hamzat Lawal, national leader of the movement, said the high cost of such forms would disenfranchise youth from participating in the 2019 elections. He faulted the idea of paying exorbitant rates for nomination forms, alleging that it is a grand plan to target less buoyant politicians, especially youth, who do not have deep pockets to afford such amount of money. He said the movement notes with concern the announcement on the cost of nominations formed by various parties, which presents a major impediment to youth participation. Now, he said, we recommend the cost of nominations from various parties should not exceed 2 million for presidential aspirants, 1 million for governorship, 600,000 for even this amount itself is still outrageous. So it's I don't know what to say about this, but it's like you're clamoring for Nothing Young to run, and then you've signed the bill, you've brought it into law, and at the end of the day, the youths cannot even afford nomination form. That doesn't make sense. If you really want them to be able to run for presidential office come 2019, then the form should be made available and affordable for the youths. Like he said, it's not the less buoyant youth. Now, you can find a less buoyant young man that's really interested to run, and he will be willing to do anything just to go ahead. And then you have someone come in, give him the money, get him into power. At the end of the day, he's stopped trying to please that person. So it's still we're still running the same political system, if you ask me. Yeah,
Lila, that's very true. And until we begin to see, the young politicians, right in the hems of affairs, trying to drive our political space, we might still end up having all of these pockets of high cost of nomination forms and all of that. There were insinuations that a particular party was to sell its presidential form for 55 million. And I asked myself, 55 million for just a form?
I must win.
Yeah, either by hook or by crook.
I must win. I cannot win.
Yes, I must win. That's number one. And number two, if I win, the first thing that comes to my mind is to recoup back my money.
Exactly.
The first thing that I'm going to do is to ensure that I get that money back, either by hook or by chain. So if you begin to put all of this together, you begin to ask yourself, are we really safe in this country? Are the older politicians really interested in fulfilling what we've been hearing before birth, after birth, and now that we are getting older, that we are the leaders of tomorrow?
I have been leaders of tomorrow.
I wonder when the tomorrow is going to come.
Oh, really?
And not too young to run is here. Either we like it or yes. But the truth of the matter is that until some of these politicians begin to understand that you can't be there for life, you need to hand over the mantle of leadership to the next generation. Not even your friends, not even your family members, but get someone else and mentor the person and allow the person to take over, from you, in as much as you're getting, older. But in this part of the world, we hardly see all of that. Emmanuel Macron of the UK, how old is he? He contested on an independent platform, and today he is the president. We've seen a handful of people like that, but we're yet to see one in Nigeria. Despite all of the clamoring and despite all of the cry that we need to change the crop of leaders that we have. Now, the crop of leaders that are aspiring for office, as far as taking advantage of the not too young to run bill, these are people that have either been in this country for some time, have also experienced outside the shores of this country. They've been through thick and thin. They understand exactly what the problems of these people are. Now, I happen to work with the former vice president, and I know that most of these big politicians you're seeing, I've actually seen them one-on-one. These are people that, on a good day, you cannot personally walk up to them, that you want to meet them, you want to share your ideas with them, or you want to tell them your problems. So most of the time, these people stay in highbrow areas that the ordinary man who is struggling on the street will not have the opportunity to see them. And each time they come out of their comfort zone, they are moving out maybe to go to another comfort zone to visit another person who is also living in another comfort zone. They blare all of their sirens and take you off the road so that they can have their way and pass as quickly as possible, beat all of the traffic lights, get to their destination, carry out their meetings and beat the traffic light back to their destination. They don't have that one-on-one contact, you know, with the downtrodden. Now, this crop of young politicians that are coming, this is my personal view. I think they've been able to interact. They've been able to see what exactly is happening in our country. Giving them the opportunity to lead, I think, will give us another perspective of what leadership is all about. Leadership is not you shouting on people or making people to lose self-esteem or making them, you know, feel bad about themselves. Leadership is you making a way for them to see more of themselves and less of you as the leader. Because if they see more of themselves, they will be the one to fight your battle even if you are not there. You know, and they'll be the one to defend all of your policies in as much as the policies is directed towards the downtrodden. But what we see today is far-fetched from some of these ideologies that we're talking about. And that is why on this show we'll say it and we'll say it again and over again, that in Nigeria we have a crop of politicians, you know, a handful of them, that just think about the next election and not the next generation. And we have a crop of politicians that don't think, that don't even have ideologies. All they have is how will I put it? Everything they think of.
Self-satisfaction.
Yeah, self-satisfaction. Let it be me and me alone. How many of our politicians will you go out there and see their children in public schools? I remember when this administration was coming on, they said that all of their appointees will not go on first class or private, blah, blah, blah. Are we observing that up to this point? So there are a lot of questions demanding for answers than the answers that Nigerians are getting. So if the Not Too Young to Run bill is anything to latch on, then I think Nigerians should come out in their numbers and support as many young guys out. Let them even go there and fail.
Yes, it's better.
It's better for them not to be there at all.
Yeah.
Let them go there and fail. Then we'll come back to the drawing board and, you know, take a corrective measure in order to, you know, to make things better.
Talking about the youths now, my problem, which I've made mention of, but I think some time ago on my show, the other program, I had a guest who spoke about wanting a leader that has experience, wanting a leader that has gone far. You know, the youths don't have experience. And then he made reference to the crop of few youths we have that are running in some parts of the country that are ruling. He mentioned Kogi, and he mentioned some other states, and said, these are young men that are there, but are you seeing any improvements? I said, that is the problem. We happen to have youths. The ones that are in power are the ones with the wrong mentality. That's because they have seen what these ones are doing, and they simply... these are the young generations. They come in and they realize, you're telling me to pay 55 million for a governorship ticket to run for governorship, and I eventually win. And then you find this young man coming in. First of all, he would want to get his 55 million. And then second of all, he came in there with the wrong mentality. He came in there with the mentality that I just want to take as much as I can take and get out. The money I spent for the ticket alone, aside the campaign, aside sorting people out, aside paying necessary people to win, aside buying votes, I need to get it back. So we have this kind of young people that come in. What we need is a fresh crop of youths with a different mentality, a different mindset. We don't need the same people with the same mindset coming into the same political space. We need a fresh set of youths with a different mindset. Now, if as a youth, the people have supported me, they've gotten this ticket for me to run for this election, and I win it fair and square, I see no reason why I wouldn't want to please these people that brought me in. I see no reason why I wouldn't want to make the masses happy. But when I am being sponsored by a godfather with so and so amount, and has a godson, and I'm coming into power, first of all, he will want his money back.
Right. No, let's just hope that all of this will come to an end as quickly as possible, and then we hope that we'll have a seamless election come 2019, starting with the Osun State governorship election.
Yes.
The INEC has also come out to say that they will do all they can to ensure that they curb vote buying. But until the Osun State governorship election comes and go away, we won't be able to substantiate that fact. All right, at this point, we'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, New Day will continue, so please stay.
Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You've got to have a plan.
Don't go to bed without a plan of how you're going to handle the next day.
You have to work at it every day. You have to plan.
Productivity is never an accident. I want you to understand that it's not going to happen by luck.
Success is cause and effect, not magic luck or magic fairy dust. Success is easy. It's making a plan and executing the plan every day. Make a plan, work the plan. Make a plan, work the plan. And whenever the plan doesn't work, you change the plan. That's called failure. It's called learning a lesson. It's called adjusting. If you do the work and you do it for a long enough time, you will be successful. Period.
Whatever it is you're bold enough to dream, if you are intentional and deliberate about it, every single day, if you do a little, you're going to wake up one day and your dreams are going to be a reality.
The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. To reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you possible will not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline. Discipline, the root of all good qualities, the driver of daily execution. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that say, not today, not now, I need a rest, I'll do it tomorrow. There is only one way, the way of discipline.
There's power in consistency. There's power in doing something over and over and over and over again. There's power in practice.
And your problem is you are on beast mode Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 10 a.m. to 12, beast mode, 1 to 5.
You keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping.
I challenge you. I challenge you to make up the gap. I challenge you to go from average. I challenge you to go from good. I challenge you to go from great. And I challenge you to be phenomenal. I challenge you to live in beast mode because beast mode makes more money than average does. Period.
When you are a true hunter, you don't go by time. You go by the gazelle. You don't hunt from 8 to 3. Why? Because the gazelle may not be open from 8 to 3. You hunt until you get a gazelle, and you don't stop until you get one. And then you get another, and then you get another, and you get another.
We got a 24/7 light, we got water, we got the best amenities, and when I don't feel like going out, I just watch TV.
Nice. Star Times, right?
Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, no.
We get all that and more channels safe. The Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best?
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 Naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Choose it.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 Naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on Star Times. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Thanks for still staying tuned. The program is still New Day, in case you're just tuning in. And the segment we'll be looking at the climate change summit that is coming up in Abuja very, very soon. It's coming up on Friday the 7th. And then we have David Terungwa. I hope I got that right. He is the executive director of GIFSEP and a co-convener of Abuja Climate Summit. David, thanks for finding our time to be here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, what's the summit all about? We've been hearing about, climate change over the years, and to some people, the climate is still the same thing. We have rain, we have fall, we have winter, we have summer.
Yeah, we have rain, we have sun. Yeah. Sun to dry our clothes, enough rain.
Yes, and sometimes breeze, cold. Everything is normal. What's the change there?
Yes, there is change. Okay. Significant change in the climate. Just this year, as you observe, there was no August break. Usually in Nigeria, around August, there is maybe a 1 or 2 week break from rainfall. That didn't happen this year. If you speak to a very elderly person in your village or elsewhere about the status of the climate, he will tell you that the climate is really changing. This year, again, we noticed that the rainfalls came in very, very late, and now it is so much. Some places are already flooded, and then there's prediction of even more flood in some other states. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's across the world. And those days we used to watch on TV, on CNN, to see how other countries were being flooded, and all. So the climate is really changing. Two things brings in extreme weather conditions. So when it's very hot, it is extremely hot. Like this year, around March, April, it was so hot. And then when it's the dry season period also, you notice that it is very severe. So the climate is changing, and the truth is that it is the #1 problem the world is facing today. Unfortunately, politics have taken over, so everybody talks more about politics, but the truth is that climate change affects us all. It affects the way we live, it affects even our health, it affects even the food production that we depend on and all that.
Yeah, is this man-made or is
Yes, climate change is both man-made and natural causes, but the man-made causes have actually overshadowed the natural causes. Natural causes have to do with volcanic eruptions and all that, but the man-made causes principally is the emissions of carbon. Now, if from primary school we're taught that you breathe in oxygen and then you breathe out carbon dioxide. Now, the plants take in this carbon dioxide and give us back the oxygen that we breathe. So, but right now, you ask yourself, how many trees do we have, even around the world, around the community, around your houses, to give you back that oxygen? Now, this carbon dioxide is not just from our breath alone, it comes from the cars, from the motorcycle, from our generators, and from industries. So, the truth is that humans are the major causes of greenhouse gas emissions leading to climate change, and there is need for us to take action.
Yeah, but we've had the cars, before now. We've had the generators before this time. We've had all of the emissions coming out from some of these machines before now, and the climate was still, favorable to humans. So why now that we're having, all of these adverse effects?
It takes the accumulation of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. For example, the carbon dioxide that remains in the atmosphere, it does not decay. All right? So you need the trees to absorb this carbon dioxide. But those trees are no longer there. In Nigeria today, we've lost our forest cover by almost 70%. It's only in Cross River State where you still have some forests that you say this is a typical forest that can act as carbon sink to absorb all the carbons. And of course, our rivers also absorb the carbon. So, but over the years, from industrial times, not just in Nigeria, we're talking of world over, emissions have increased, and then the accumulation is the effect of what we are feeling today.
Okay, I must comment. First, we're talking about Cross River States. The reason why that happened is because there was a time in Cross River States where they had cut a tree, plant a tree going on, which really went a long way, because even along the roads you see trees. Aside the natural forest we have in Buki and some other few local government areas in Cross River States. So now this summit, what are we looking forward to during the summit? What impact, what special message, what way would you be able to relate through the summit to the layman talking about climate change, gas emission, and avoiding deforestation?
So the truth is that for governments to take any issues seriously, the citizens must come together and rise to say we want actions. And this summit is bringing together all the stakeholders, civil societies, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and everyone together to discuss about this issue. It's affecting us in a way we don't know that it is. For example, we all know that desertification is fast eating into the country. We see the crisis between the farmers and the herdsmen. We see the flooding effect. We see crop failures. We see disease outbreak and all that. It affects us directly. So we need to take actions that will mitigate these issues and will help us adapt. The truth is that we in Nigeria and Africa, we are not the main cause of this problem, but we are the most affected. So we don't have a choice than to be part of the solution. And being part of the solution means that we need to begin to talk about these issues, just like we did with HIV, we did with Ebola and all that. So it becomes a national issue. Yes, the government have done a few things. For example, we have ratified the Paris Agreement. The president have signed it. It is now the nationally determined contributions that our country with other countries worldwide have signed this agreement to say we are going to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So we need to know what has the government done in this respect since it was signed about a year ago and all that.
Right. As far as the summit is concerned, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried in the sense that, and I know a lot of Nigerians and those watching us across the globe could also be worried, because we've seen series of summits, series of conferences, series of meetings, series of MOUs, series of all of the series you can think about as it relates to not just climate change. We've seen on security, we've seen on economy, we've seen on businesses, we've seen on stock broking and stock exchange and all of that. But yet, you see that the effect of most of the summits are not being felt. And some school of thought are of the view that maybe the organizers are just out there to make some cash, you know, by getting those people registered and then get a few good orators, just come, prepare papers, deliver it in 5-10 minutes, and off you go. What are you going to do differently to change that?
The reason is simply that the people are not always carried along. Okay. Any solution in this world that can work or has worked perfectly, it is a bottom-up approach. Now, we've been discussing climate issues and many other issues in this country. It's usually at the government level, and then the people are usually not carried along. So, but in this summit, it is the people that are coming together. It's just a first step to say, okay, we have this issue. What do we do? Good enough. It is an electioneering year. I'll tell you that we did a little background of all the party manifestos in this country, and we discovered that no party in their manifestos have that word climate change or even renewable energy. That is one of the most solution that we are talking about. So if the people who are the electorate, begin to talk about this issue and how it affects them, then you should expect that it becomes a campaign issue, and we expect that the political parties and the politicians, who I believe this time around will begin to listen to the electorate and then take these issues seriously. So it's not just about coming to talk and, you know, going, but it's about people, individuals taking practical actions themselves. For example, I will just talk about trees. How many trees do you have in your home? I mean, can you begin to plant some trees around your home? Okay. Can you begin to reduce your carbon footprint? By carbon footprint, I mean those activities that you do that emit more carbon. For example, I need to walk from here to the junction. I don't need to drive, but you know, some people would prefer to drive when you can easily walk, which is good for yourself and for your health. How about food waste that we do? You know, we go for occasions, we see what people do, collect a lot of food, and you don't eat it. And when you think of the carbon emissions that went into the production of that food, then you will not waste it. You know, so these are some of the things that we as individuals practically will begin to take actions, not just waiting for the government alone. Yeah.
You talked about people coming. Sorry, Lillian, a follow-up to that. You talked about people coming, and you made mention of everybody. So who and who are we expecting? Am I, if I should come to this summit, am I going to see a very local farmer from maybe Dapchi or Damboa or from Goza, you know, attending that summit? With probably, you know, mere looking at him, I'll know that, oh, this guy is a farmer, because these are people that can, you know, easily go out there and start planting trees, in as much as they have a handful of information that this thing that you're doing is bad and all of that. Because they go into the bushes and bring down trees without replacing them. So am I going to see someone from that axis who is, you know, a peasant farmer? You know, I know we have some highbrow mechanized farmers and all of that, you know, people who are, you know, into large scale of farming like Obasanjo and all of that. I don't expect to see them. I expect to see people from, you know, the downtrodden. Are we expecting such people there? Yes.
First of all, this summit is for people within Abuja. We're not bringing people from other states.
No, I just cited that. But even in Abuja, we have peasant farmers.
Course,
yes, I just cited
the number one people on our list are the local farmers, because the farmers are even the most affected by the effect of climate change. Remember that most of our farmers depend on rain-fed agriculture. They sit down and imagine that, okay, the rains will start tomorrow, and then it doesn't start, and then they go and plant, and then all their crops, you know, die off, and you know, sometimes flood comes and destroy everything they have invested, all their lifestyle, and this cycle of poverty continues. So the farmers are the most affected by these issues, and they are the number one people that we've invited. We've also invited religious leaders. You know, we are a religious nation. For example, the Catholic Church, the Pope is promoting, you know, renewable energy and the need for us to look after our environment. Islam also have some things to do with how we can relate with our environment and all that. And then lastly, we are bringing also these same political parties that we're talking about to tell us what plans they have for these issues, because this is the number one problem the world is facing today. And somehow in this clan, it is not brought to the bear. It is usually, okay, politics and, of course, insecurity. But if you even think of the insecurity, the number one driving force to this insecurity has to do with climate change.
Very true.
Okay, now he spoke about issues that should be addressed and the caliber of people that will be there. Now, you've also spoken about trees, planting, and all of that. Now, let's look at gas flaring. Let's look at gas flaring now. We have the issue of soot in River State. We have the issue of illegal refinery in most oil-producing states in Nigeria. Now, like it or not, in as much as we're not one of the, we're like one of the oil-producing countries, and gas flaring is something that we can't actually evade. So, would this summit actually look at gas flaring and way to curb the illegal refineries, what partnership would you have with government to look at gas flaring and curb it down? Because that should be one of the major carbon emission we have, aside cars. You mentioned cars and all those are minor.
Yes.
That's a major gas carbon emission we have.
Yes, thank you very much. One of the first presentations we'll be having at the summit is to listen from the Ministry of Environment on how far we have implemented our NDC. That's the agreement we signed that will begin to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Good enough, the NNPC, the Ministry of Petroleum, just this last month said that they will stop gas flaring in Nigeria by 2020. That's just 2 years from now.
How possible is it?
Well, we'll be watching, and that is why we want every Nigerian to be part of this and understand that if we don't demand for change, there will be no change. For a very long time, we've been flaring gas in Nigeria. That is money being wasted, destroying the environment. The environmental impact and health impact of gas flaring cannot be quantified. Nigeria is the only country in the world that still flare gas. It shouldn't be. And so we're happy that the government is saying by 2020, gas flaring will be a thing of the past. We'll hold them to their word. So the government telling us how well they have implemented the Paris Agreement, then we'll look at it and go back to the ground and see if what they are saying is true.
Okay, now he spoke about the caliber of people that would come for the summit now.
Yes.
I always look at, how about those that can come? What outreach mechanism do you have? Like he mentioned a farmer in that chain, you said this is for just Abuja.
Yes.
Even if you organize it somewhere there and then that farmer, what outreach mechanism do you have to enlighten those people? What level of, would I say publicity or outreach mechanism rather, do you have to reach out to such people, educate them, enlighten them? You could tell a farmer, okay, plant one tree. A farmer wouldn't even want to plant a tree because the roots will affect his crops. Let's be honest. So what outreach mechanism do you have for a regular farmer in Benue State? How do you intend to enlighten and educate them on afforestation and deforestation?
Like I said, this is just the beginning. And being here in your studio today, talking about these issues, is also just the beginning. The media also have a lot of work to do, not just TV, the radio and other media have a lot to do in this regard. So we are just, this summit in Abuja is just a starting point, and then going forward we'll reach out to the different organizations, farmers groups, the headers group in different parts of the country. So we'll also use the media to campaign. Of course, there are a lot of work, most especially by development partners on this issue. But sometimes they are not being promoted. I know about the Jeff Small Grant, I know IFAD, I know Oxfam. They are all working in different parts of the country. So we just need to sustain this effort, but more importantly, for the government to take this issue as a very serious and critical issue. So this is just a starting point. You will see me often.
But don't you think waiting for the government is not actually going to bring a solution? Because we've always seen us waiting for the government and waiting for the government. Don't you think outreach to individuals itself is going to actually make more of a positive impact?
Of course, we are not waiting for the government. This conference has nothing to do with the government.
But you just made several mentions of the
we
government.
Want the government to put these issues in the front burner. That's why we are coming together as a people to demand that, look, this is what affects us more. This has to be taken into more budgetary provisions and more policies, more laws to tackle this issue. But more importantly, ourselves, we need to take actions. The little way we can. In Kaduna, the flooding that took place in Kaduna, for example, could have been avoided if people themselves decided not to go and build houses in the floodplain, for goodness sake. You know, so that is not government. It is ourselves that decided we will do that. You know, so but the truth is that this issue has a lot to do with even the economy of the country. You know, the land we have is not increasing. From independence, we were like 45 million. Right now, we are how many? We are about 200 million, they say. Okay? The same size of land, the same water, the same everything. So we cannot continue to develop the way we are. We must develop sustainably. This is what we are talking about.
Okay. All right. My next engagement with you will be very simple. How would you have expected Nigeria to have handled, you know, the global warming thing, you know, before now? Because, like you rightly made mention of, you know, flooding and all of that, most of them are man-made. How would you have expected, you know, successive governments to have handled, you know, the global warming issue before this time? And if they had handled it, you know, apparently well, are we going to find ourselves where we are as we speak?
Well, I would say that planning is one of the major challenges that we have in the country, and environmental governance in general is lacking.
But we have the Minister of Environment.
Oh, well, he's just one person, a minister. Now, the truth is that environmental governance should not even be at the federal level. The minister is here in Abuja. Where the land is where? It's in the states, right? And you would, like you mentioned, in most states, they don't even understand what these issues are. For example, you can just walk into the bush and cut down a tree now, and you go, and nobody will ask you questions. Okay? Of course, our people depend largely on firewood for their energy. So they will tell you, what do you want me to use and cook, which is another issue that will, it's a big topic for discussion for another day. So, but the truth is that we need environmental governance, not just at the federal level, but at the state. The states have a lot. This forest, they are where? They're in the states. The federal will do all the policies and all that. So, but we need these laws, and they should be well implemented. The last time I checked, the penalty for someone felling a tree is maybe like 10 naira or so. So you can go ahead and cut many trees and keep paying 10 naira and all that.
Okay, my colleague just talked about gas flaring. Should we have allowed that in the first place?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. These are some of the issues that the country that has to do with planning and also policy enforcement at the initial. It is a big disappointment that we are the only country in the world that is still flaring gas. That is money being wasted, like I mentioned. And now we are still complaining we don't have gas. All right? And then our farmers are failing, not just farmers, even in Abuja here, people are using firewood. They cannot afford the same gas to use. And then it is being flared. And it's a major contributor to climate change. It shouldn't be happening, you know. So we as people need to take our laws more seriously, have the interests of the people at heart, not just making laws for some few individuals to be paying. Because for the oil companies, it was more easy for them to pay the fines and flare the gas. And that's why they continued. So but if we come up with very stringent laws, they will stop it, and it should be stopped.
Okay, I'm going to ask you two questions in one as we prepare to wrap up.
Okay.
Number one, still talking about the environment. Who is your ideal Minister of Environment? What should be his pedigree? That's one. And number two, if gas flaring should continue, okay, let me not take it back to gas flaring. This summit that you're about to have on Friday,
yes,
what should Nigerians be expecting?
And one last
Number
one
three.
now, and number three now. You made mention of, I really love People's TV. We reach out to the regular masses. Now, you made mention of fuelwood. Now, before you go, can you give us, you said it's another topic for another day, but briefly, please give my audience another option for fuel. For those that, let's be realistic. The woman frying akara by the road, what other option does she have for firewood?
Okay, so we are promoting renewable energy, and we're saying that renewable energy is the solution to all the gas emissions from emission of carbon. Of course, burning of wood is also part of it. Yes, there are new technologies that can be used for cooking. So the general one we know is the gas. It is expensive in quote.
Not in quote. It's expensive.
I would say it's expensive in quote because sometimes if you look at the cost over time of you buying fuel wood, maybe for a month or 2 months, and then you estimate the cost of the environment and the cost of you using it for. Sorry, you discover that. No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
No, I have to cut it short. Then I'll fuel wood now. Yes. At least I know for a while in my life I was very good at frying gari. Congratulations to me. So we would buy a bundle. Highest 50 naira, 100 naira. And then you're telling me I have to look at the cost of that. If I'm going to buy a gas, my gas goes for way more than that. To fill my gas is 1.5, and then it's not probably going to last me for a month. So you need to give me a cheaper option.
I have not landed. Thank you for mentioning gari, for example. Yeah. Now, our forefathers, or even the women in the village, when they are frying gari, there's a way they build.
Of course.
A mud stand.
Good. Using the mud stand. So why do they do that?
It's for heat.
It's for heat, to conserve heat. And so what actually cooks your food is not the firewood, it is the heat, right? So now, why those women use that mud is because they want to maximize. If they put 3 sticks of firewood, it should give them that heat that would fry their gari. Okay? So now, this technology is very simple and it's very local. Build your fireplace with mud. Okay. So instead of using 10 firewood, you can use 3 and it will give you the same result. These are some of the little things that we can do. I know that some other organizations are teaching farmers how to do this. I know there are many other organizations doing this right now. So, but I know with time it will go far. We have the solar cookers. Of course, the challenge with the solar cookers, the farmers will tell you, we cannot use it to cook pounded yam because it's a little bit slow, but you can use it to cook your other noodles and all that. You know, so that is why, if you remember, the government came up with an initiative on renewable energy stove, which corruption just killed it. Those stoves they were somewhere at the National Stadium or something. These are very good initiatives, you know, but unfortunately, sometimes the very good ones don't get to see the light of the day. So the local farmer already have some of the solutions to these issues, like agroforestry. They know that they need to plant some trees, they need to space the trees, you know, not just any tree. If, for example, they plant their mango, their oranges, they are getting double benefit from the crops and also selling the oranges and from the fruits, and also food security for them. All right? So the local farmer already knows this, but somehow, because of the pressure on the land and all that, they are letting some of these things go. And these are the problems.
Yeah, that's for renewable energy.
Yes.
Then who is your ideal Minister of Environment?
This is a very big question for me to answer. But I personally, I believe that a minister is just an individual. You have different departments and units within that ministry. You have NESRA, you have different DGs or different parastatals under that ministry. So he should be able to coordinate those agencies properly, and also work very closely with the legislators to review some of our environmental laws. They are gone. Because most of them were done long ago, you know, and then also push for the enforcement of these laws, and you know, stand by it. Like when we had the issue of the superhighway Cross River, where the governor wanted to clear major part of the only forest we still have in Nigeria for a superhighway. You know, the minister also stood up, even though he's part of the government, and all the noise made by the civil society worked. So we need a minister that is very proactive, of course, not just attending international conferences and meetings, but coming back to ensure that this fits back to the people. Yeah.
So what do we expect from your summit? Are we still going to see, you know, the resolutions or the agreements coming from your summits going down the drain like other summits, or what exactly are you going to do differently to ensuring that some of your resolutions are pushed forward for a better environment?
Yes, like I said, the citizens are the ones to drive this summit. It is not just a talk show as it used to be. And so if at the end of the day we bring climate change to the front burner as a campaign issue, we will be very happy, and then we will also be very happy that our local farmers who know that climate change is happening but don't even understand what exactly it is, understand this and take back the message to their people, and know that will be the major outcome. But for us really is that we know that as a country we are fossil fuel dependent, but it is time for us to embrace renewable energy and leave this oil in the ground. We've had it over the years, but what has been the result? Go to the Niger Delta and see the destruction.
It has cost.
It has cost. So leave this oil in the ground. Let's embrace renewable energy. We have a major danger ahead of us as a country, and if we don't take steps now to join the rest of the world, we'll be in serious problem. You know about electric cars all over the world. Most of the countries that buy our oil, India, for example, they are converting all their cars by 2025 to electric cars. So who will be buying our oil?
And solar.
And so everybody is going renewable. And we also as a country must not be left behind.
Well, thank you very much, David. Teungwa, I hope I got that right.
Teungwa.
Teungwa.
Yes.
All right. He's from the Benue Extraction. Thank you very much for finding our time to be here today.
Thank you very
and
much
thank you for enlightening our viewers all over the world. You know, we're being watched in over 86 countries of the world and cutting across Nigeria. Thank you so very much for coming today.
Thank you. I look forward to coming back after the summit to tell you how we felt.
Okay,
yeah, we really can't wait for the feedback.
We'll so much welcome you back.
Thank you so
much.
much.
All right, we'll take a break at this point and then allow Mike to go do his, he's running around in preparation, you know, for the summit coming up on Friday.
Yeah.
And after the break, we'll be back. I am my colleague Lillian to wrap up the show. So please stay. We'll be right back.
We got a 24/7 light, we got water, we got the best amenities, and when I don't feel like going out, I just watch TV.
Nice. Star Times, right?
Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, ma.
We get all that and more channels safe. The Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best.
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 Naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Choose it.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with StarTimes Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 Naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on StarTimes. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
All right, glad to know that you're still tuned on to People's Television. Today we're trying to look more on the environment and talking about global warming, global climate change, and possibly Abuja climate change, because this is where it's housing us, Lillian.
The climate change summit, we hope it brings out something positive at the end of the day. And then you put ahead, make that mud thing. Me, I know that mud thing has making fire not to burn my Lego.
No,
but I didn't know it had, you know, when
you know, sometimes you might have, you know, one thing working for 2 or 3 purposes.
Yes.
So maybe one, not to, you know, have adverse effect on you, and number 2, to ensure that the heat doesn't just go.
We learn every day.
Easily.
That was a nice one. I didn't know that. I just knew that, okay, we did that to prevent the heat from burning our legs, because you have to sit to fry guys. Recently they made that long stick you use. So it's easier having that round to prevent the heat from getting to your legs. But I realized that that actually minimizes the number of wood you use, and then it also prevents the gas from going out. It just allows the heat to
stay
cook
within.
the food. So I think we should look into that. Talking about the gas flaring, you know, there's this thing that was trending on Twitter at some point, suits in River State. It's really getting serious as the day goes by. The environmental condition, the health condition of people living there is not really safe at all. So if this summit is really going to look at all those things, and we end up seeing, like you said, they will come, they will gather everybody, they will talk to register, carry money, and go, we will not see anything. So if this one is actually going to, like you said, they will bring farmers and all of that, talk to them, and then encourage them to, okay, we'll plant a tree. If you plant one mango tree beside your corn, you will have your corn and mango to sell next year. Let's be practical. You will have your corn and your mango to sell next year. So plant a tree and all of that. Well, it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really going to get interesting. Like I put it straight up to him that, you know, sometimes you have summits like this and you have resolutions, and the resolutions, you know, just ends on the table of the organizers. You know, they don't try to push it forward, maybe to get legislations or to get presidential assents or noddings or considerations and all of that. But if this is a summit that's going to go differently, I think it's going to really put us on another pedestrian altogether, because it will help the government to see, you know, the future in the light at which, you know, the summit saw it, and pointing out some very grievous dangers that might, you know, befall us. Let me just use that word. I don't want to say the country. That might befall us if we don't take precautionary measures in ensuring that our environment is safe. And until we begin to do all of that, I can tell you we can hold all of the summits that we want to hold. Without the political will, we'll still be going around circles.
True. Well, talking about the politicians, we hope they come there with positive effect, because Nigeria is a country of plenty talk and no action.
Yeah, very true. And David made a very profound statement saying that none of the manifestos of our political parties is having anything to do with the environment. And that is to tell you that the people, our politicians have studied the electorates. They know that the electorate needs shelter, needs some money in his pockets, needs to move from one location to the other. They know, and they know really well that the electorates, to a larger percent, are poor. So they now use that to play on the psyche of the electorate, especially as it relates to campaign. Why will you come and campaign and tell me that you're going to give me XYZ amount at the end of the month? Why are you not talking about my safety, not just security-wise, but environmental-wise? Why are you not talking about it? Is it that you have no tenacious knowledge of what the environment is suffering from? Is it that you don't understand what global warming is all about? Is it that you don't understand that gas flaring could be as dangerous as anything? Don't you understand that cutting down of trees could also hamper healthy living of humans, including you, the politician? So until we begin to have politicians who understand life itself as it relates to nature, we'll keep having the same. Now, 2019 up to date, what has changed? That's the question. What has changed? We talked about the renewable stove and all of that the previous administration, brought in. But because some people don't see reasons why those things should see the light of the day, today is gone. And now we're having pockets of issues. He made mention of something. He said, if care is not taken, in the next couple of years, we'll be in a serious trouble that even the government will not be able to handle. So where are politicians that understand what nature is all about? Where are politicians that are not just interested in bringing money to the polling units to buy vote? Where are politicians that are not just interested in getting into offices? Where are the politicians that have ideas, ideologically driven politicians? Where are they? Almost all of the politicians we have now are self-centered, self-motivated, self-driven, all for their pockets and for their families. And that is why a political party could sit down and say the presidential nomination form is 55 million or 100 million or 30 million. Yeah, that's the only reason why.
No, that's the typical example. Yeah, that's the typical example of what now you talk about politicians and their mentality. He made an instance of a governor in Cross River State that wanted to destroy forests,
bring down the forest.
On ultramodern, what do we need the highway for?
Ultramodern what? Why don't you do
we had the same governor in that same state that made a rule where you don't. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how it was regulated. But you do not plant a tree. You do not cut down a tree without replacing it. They have to see that the one you've replaced has started growing. It has grown to a reasonable extent, then you can now cut down the one you want. So that was, there was a stage in Cross River. We still have that thick virgin forest in Boki. If you go there, you see thick forest up and down. But Boki has the thickest virgin forest. I think one of the surviving ones in Nigeria. And that's because we had a government that put that into consideration. Most of the trees, they were planted. Aside the ones that were there naturally, most of the trees, people go into cut trees, but you plant to replace it. He made sure that that happened. Then we now still have this same government that wanted to create a highway is now opening a toothpick factory. It's not still the trees they will cut down for it. So it's really sad that you have people with different sad mentalities that don't care about the environmental health of the people. And the funniest aspect, it is also going to affect them.
Definitely.
It is definitely going to affect them. The flooding for now might be affecting the layman, but soon you will hear that the governor's house was washed off. So it's eating in gradually. Do you know, I didn't even know, and we're so not conscious of it that I really didn't notice we didn't have an August break this year. The amount of rain we've had this year, it got to a point that people were making a joke out of it, saying if you see 2 animals moving, please follow them. They're likely going to the ark because of the amount of rainfall we had. So it really knows that there was no August break this year. We had a whole lot of rainfall that led to flooding. Now, on our own path, I'm sure we must have caused the flooding because of blocked drainages. But then how good were the drainages? What kind of materials were used to make drainages? Most of the drainages are not even... They are blocked, yes, but most of them are fallen, most of them have collapsed. So this is still on the part of the government. You have to put these things in place for your own safety. You people are there eating, doing what you're doing, having your own political way through things, but these things are also affecting you people. They are affecting everyone. In as much as they're affecting the layman, they are affecting the politicians. The gas flaring in River State, the governor is there. He's not also inhaling it. He's also going through it. If a health challenge should come up, he's going to be affected. The only problem is that he might probably have a quicker way to get in treatment, but he was affected. So they should come to the realization that you're campaigning. Climate change should probably be your majority, the priority on your list, because it is going to affect you. Since we've decided that we're all going to be selfish in the country, then be selfish in the fact that knowing that this thing is going to affect you more than how it's going to affect the regular Nigerian. So I think if they have that mentality, it should go a long way. Yeah, it should go a long way, because without the environment, we won't be here sitting at all. You know, to talk to Nigerians. And without the environment, they won't be here to rule us. You know, to rule us. So I think it's high time we really bring this to the fore and ensure that those who are saddled with the responsibility of leading this country will lead it right. That was why I had to ask him, who is your ideal Minister of Environment? Because you'll be surprised that the Minister of Environment, somewhere, sometime, does not even understand what nature is all about. Sure. You know, but because he's close to XYZ, who is close to XYX, and, you know, he was able to maybe deliver his word or his line, or he was able to campaign with XYZ president, you know, now they are using that they are using that appointment as a compensation to him. But in other climes, you go out and get experts, especially into key positions that will have to do with the natural survival of your country. You know, but in this part of the world, we are likely to not to see that come to the fore, because everything has been politicized. You know, you have a minister of you know, of sports, you know, who has never been on the field for the national team, who does not even know what the size of a field is, or what the size of a goalpost is, or what duration do you add up when a match gets to, you know, extra time. You have a minister of probably a minister of culture that does not even know the history of his people, you know, talking about their culture and all of that. That cannot even tell you how many tribes we have in a particular country. You have a minister of, let's say, of finance that cannot, you know, probably tell you that, look, when you add up XYZ, it will give you XYX, and that could help your economy to grow. You have a minister of, what else? You have a minister of defense that cannot even tell you what a 7.6 mm, you know, bullet looks like. You know, that does not even know the difference between, you know, a Kalashin and an ordinary pistol. What? You know, yes, a Kalashin and an ordinary pistol. Well, I can't definitely be a minister of defense. You have a minister of what and what. You know, we can go on. We have these people that come in through politics, not through politics, not through their qualifications. And most times that is why we keep finding ourselves in this kind of situation. But we just hope that Nigeria is evolving, and we're going to get there someday, somehow, sometime. Yeah, someday, somehow, sometime. But we're waiting. Yeah, we're waiting. All right, it's time to say our goodbyes. Been able to talk about environment today. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll talk about something different. So you want to say our goodbyes? Yes. Well, stop pollution. Plant a tree. Yes, I know most of you shout snakes and this, but plant a mango tree. When mango season comes, you thank me later. All right, not just a mango tree. Plant as many trees as you can. Yeah, at least this time is still the ground is still wet. They can still survive, and then by next year they will get better and grow bigger. So, to keep our environment and to ensure that we are naturally safe, let's ensure that we take care of our environment. It is very, very key. And if your car is smoking, please park it somewhere, because you are not just, you know, polluting the environment. You are also constituting a kind of environmental hazard to other people. You are not just the only one that needs to move in cars. So, and then your generators as well. Generators. And also, if you're moving from one distance to the other and you feel it's trackable, just trek. Leave your car somewhere. It's good for your health, and it will also help reduce some of these things we are talking about as it relates to our environment. All right, at this point, we'll be calling it a wrap on Tuesday's edition of your favorite program. We're sorry for not hitting the phone lines open. Today we have that very, very important discussion to do. That's why we just decided to keep the phone lines closed. But tomorrow, God willing, we'll hit it open, and then we'll hear from you. Yeah, all right, at this point, next on PTV is the news at 10.
that is where you get all of the information that will also help you to navigate through. And from me and my colleague Lilian Ogazi, we say goodbye and thanks for watching.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
News 24 Extra is taking it up a notch. You can now have news curated to your interest anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store on iOS. Search News 24 Extra. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news in politics, entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and much more. So stay connected with News 24 Extra. News at your fingertips.
My name is Femi Anikula Pokuti. This is just to tell you, beg you, plead with you, don't let anybody lure you into being violent. It's very important for us to have a peaceful elections. We need to think about the future of this country, of our children. We can be a great nation. And the first step is desist from being violent. Let's have a peaceful elections.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
Orthodox soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are engaged.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely.
From this interview, because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria
validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership on the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you will go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agbero. That made me like this Agbero.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally. From this interview. Because you have
said there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria.
Validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
People of Nigeria, I hear say don't back Odin. From my side, it's good though as the banner, because even human being, you no go to the drink Odin. I beg, it's good, make a banner. We don't want them again.
A lot of Nigeria youth that have been taken into codeine have caused a lot of havoc to them, even to the society in general.
The recent ban of codeine is very amazing because that will help the Nigerian youths to face the reality and know what they're doing. Because of then, man, people are taking this codeine and they'll be very slow, they can't even help themselves out. But now that it's banned, I think they have no way to find any escape, so they will come out, do the right thing at the right time and work for themselves.
I feel happy about the ban of codeine in Nigeria because it has caused so many harms to our youth out there. They over-abuse it. For those it may affect, they can go for other alternative of cough syrup. It's not only codeine that is in Nigeria that is cough syrup.
To some extent, it's okay. In the sense that the abuse is getting out of hand. You see people taking codeine as if they are drinking water, which is causing health hazards to most of us. That, I say, is not good. But think about it the other way around. I need codeine to cure me of one ailment or the other. And for me to go and get it now from the pharmacy becomes a problem because it's banned. So what do you do now? So before the government will come out to say this and that, I think it should be better for government to find out the root cause of why these guys or these little ones, not even guys this time, even women, even politicians, they do it, they take it. Find out why they are doing it, especially those guys outside. Then try to sort out that problem so that it will stop. If you say you ban it, the effect will be on almost everybody. But if you find out the root cause of why they are doing it, it will help us better.
I think the recent ban of codeine is one of the most positive things this government has done so far. And it's a very, very good thing because it will actually curtail drug abuse. Because if you look at Kano and Lagos State right now, they're among the highest abusers of drug, and Katsina State is a very good thing for the youth, and it will definitely grow the level of efficiency and self-sustenance in the country.
My name is Rotimi Ekomi. I work with INEC. We have, since 2017, registered over 12 million Nigerians. We still have quite a number of uncollected PVCs. We have just about 500,000 collected. We have about 7 million uncollected. So we appeal to Nigerians to please collect their PVCs. We also want to appeal to Nigerians not to engage in vote buying and selling. Not good for our democracy at all. Please express your choice freely. Don't engage in violence, especially to our youth. Don't allow politicians to persuade you to engage in any form of violence. It's not good for this country. Democracy is about choice. You have the right to interrogate the manifestos presented by political parties. When they come, ask them questions. What do they have for you in education? What do they have? What programs do they have under health, infrastructure, all the things that you desire for the country to make this country better? And if they provide the answers and you are convinced, then you can, of course, make your choice. Right now, the choice is vast. We have just registered 23.
Good morning and welcome to PTV Today. I am Daniel Mwaboso. The presidency has explained that President Muhammadu Buhari declined assent to 2018 electoral bill due to some issues that were not addressed following the prior revision to the bill. Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Etta Enang, made this known in a statement in Abuja on Monday. Enang listed the outstanding issues resolved to include a cross-referencing error in the proposed amendment to Section 18 of the bill. He explained that the Electoral Amendment Bill did not amend Sections 31, 34, and 85, which stipulate times for submission of lists of candidates, publication of lists of candidates and notice of convention, congresses for nominating candidates for election. The presidential aide said that already the president had since communicated his position to the Senate and the House of Representatives on August 30th. Benue State Governor Samuel Otom has formally taken over the leadership of the People's Democratic Party in the state. This follows a series of meetings on the sharing formula of party positions in the aftermath of his defection from the All Progressives Congress. PDP leaders, including Gabriel Suswam and former Senate President, attended a meeting in Makurdi where the decision was sealed. We'll bring you that story in a subsequent bulletin. Now, former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau has dumped the People's Democratic Party. The media aide to the former governor, Sule Ya Sule, made this known on Tuesday morning in Kano. He has summoned a stakeholders meeting where he intends to reveal where he will be moving to. Shekarau's defection may not be connected to the dissolution of the State Executive Committee by the National Working Committee of the party on Friday. The dissolution was vehemently opposed on Monday by the State Executive Council. Moving on now, supporters of Kano State, former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau have rejected the decision of the dissolution of the PDP structure in the state. One of Shekarau's associates, Sarkin Labaran, told party faithfuls at the State Secretariat that the action of the national headquarters of the party is illegal and cannot stand. As political parties finalize plans for their primaries, aspirants for elected positions on the platform of the PDP have been thronging the party's secretariat to pick nomination forms, Emmanuel Ehijene reports.
This is PDP National Secretariat, otherwise known as Wadata House. It is in recent times been the beehive of activities. And Monday was not different, as aspirants for various political offices showed up in droves to collect nomination forms for the forthcoming primaries.
The Nigerian people will once again enforce the responsibility of their leadership to the People's Democratic Party. It is therefore on behalf of the National Chairman and on behalf of the National Working Committee and indeed all members of the National Executive that I have the privilege and honor to extend to you the gubernatorial forms for expression of interest and indeed those for nomination for primary elections. Thank you
They say the process of picking the nomination form is smooth and easy.
Okay, it's just that the time is short because I think it's just a space of 6 days to 7 days or so because they started selling last week, and I hear by Thursday they'll be closing sales. So I think the timing was okay, but it was short. But the process of picking up the form here, it's good. It's good. It's okay.
And so far, the process has been fair to a large extent. And then right from the beginning, when the decision was taken, and when we decided to come to pick the ticket, we will say that all well, and so far it's been good.
Our blueprint is to arrive in New Kwara from 2019. From today, the journey begins. So we're going now to go and re-strategize for the primary election within a few days, and by the grace of God, we'll get victory.
The politicians also speak on the prospect of more young persons seeking elective offices and their chances.
A lot of youths are yearning and willing to come on board in Nigerian politics. Like you mentioned, it's been noted that the impediment is finance. If you are not financially buoyant in Nigeria, most times it's difficult for you to aspire to a position, talk less of going as a candidate. So the meeting that was held is welcomed, is a step in the right direction, and we believe that the authorities and those that are in position will listen to what the youth is saying and listen to their speech and be able to see how they can work to ensure that the cost of picking the forms alone is drastically reduced or eliminated.
What the youth of Kwara would like before now is that center point, the rallying point for them. So it's that point I brought to them. I'm trying to encourage all the youth that it is doable. Every young man in Nigeria, it is our time. We have the numbers, we have the capacity, we have the energy and the strength. So we should stop this ideology of thinking they will not allow us. Everything is in our hand. We should decide. So we have the number. So for me, we're going there to show that the strength is for us. So for me, today is a great day, and I'm encouraging every other youth across the country, please join politics. It's the only way you can shape things. Stop complaining.
PDP has assured aspirants of a level playing field, even though it is obvious. Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.
The People's Democratic Party has inaugurated a 93-man campaign committee headed by Senate President Bukola Saraki for the September 22nd Osun gubernatorial elections. This follows an emergency session convened by the leadership of the party in Abuja. Emmanuel Ejine reports.
These are members of the PDP National Working Committee strategizing towards Osun gubernatorial elections. To ensure victory at elections, a 93-man campaign committee comprising party leaders across the country was named. The committee is headed by Senate President Bukola Saraki.
This election is important for many, many reasons. For us in the PDP, there have been 2 elections in the Southwest, which unfortunately we did not win. And we need to reestablish our foothold in the Southwest. And this election in Osun is the last one before the general election. And we must reestablish our foothold in the Southwest, because the PDP has been a party well grounded in the Southwest, and we must reconnect with the people and ensure that we do that. The second reason is also the wish of the people of Osun State. As you rightly observed, this is a very unpopular government presently. By the statistics in the country, I think it was the most indebted state government, where a lot of workers' salaries have not been paid. So it is clear that the people are not happy. So we must ensure that the wish of the people is reflected on the day of election. So it is also the issue of free and fair elections going to come to play in this country. Osun State gives us the opportunity again, the last election before general election.
Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.
Still on politics now, the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Cultural Group of Afenifere is prepared to back former Vice President and presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. The group made its position known on Sunday when it hosted Atiku in Lagos. Leader of the group and pro-democracy veteran, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, explained that Afenifere has taken time to think through all the aspirants and concluded only the former vice president is genuinely interested in restructuring the country. For his part, Atiku maintained that his commitment to restructuring is absolute and added that he once earned him a query when he was vice president. He recalled that he came to office to Lagos then to discuss why the country should be restructured, but his comment at the lecture earned him a query from the then president Olusegun Obasanjo. Atiku also vowed that he would restructure Nigeria within 6 months if elected. Away from politics now, several people displaced by Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria are still taking refuge in camps in Abuja. This is in spite of relative peace in areas liberated from the insurgents. Many of them are on the verge of being displaced again, this time by incident rainfalls from their makeshift camps. Emmanuel Bagudu has the details.
Although there has been a lot of rehabilitations in the northeastern part of Nigeria, which has led to a lot of IDPs going back to their villages, going back to their ancestral homes. But of course, there are still leftovers of IDPs here in Abuja, especially here in the Bama Goza IDP, which was built by the Nigerian Officers' Wives Association. I take a look at a lot of rooms here, and I discover there are still some people who have not been able to go back to their homes due to their inability, to afford money, to transport themselves back. They have a lot of challenges associated with this rainy season, ranging from issues of malaria, typhoid, and a lot of waterborne diseases. Scanty environment with only women and children left at the mercy of the elements. Those with husbands are hoping for something good by late evening, while those without helpers will just wait for a miracle. The school in the camp is being prepared for a new session, while the health center is also a beehive of activities. This is Hadiza Ali, a widow with 9 children and 1 grandchild. She is one of the most valuable IDPs in this Durumi camp. As a traditional birth attendant, Hadiza has a first-hand knowledge of the current challenges in the camp. SOT.
We need help, more helps and helps. To see IDPs, please and please. I am a widow. I'm also praying for all over Nigeria. Every standard that come to visit us, I give us good encouragement. I also pray for them. May God leave them long life and prosperity and reward them anything that they have in their lives.
Hadiza wasn't ashamed of taking us round her ravaged humble home.
Yes, 350.
Health service providers in the camp confirmed Hadiza's tales.
To keep carrying all the children to rushing to going out. The time that the people was going out, the rooms they fall out for the ground. The things is only God has been saving these people. Because this accommodation that you see for there is the only single room, one room. All the people they have it. When if you check, go there, any one woman, they have a 5 child, 8 child, 10 child, 9 child. The one woman that I told you now said they are losing the house since 2 weeks back. They have 9 children.
From the medical aspect angle? From the medical aspect, actually, you have more patients than the dry season. This is due to manifestation of certain illnesses like malaria is more common during the rainy season, upper respiratory tract infection, acute diarrheal diseases, and many more.
While a lot of IDPs strive to return home, Hadiza and others seems very hopeless. I only need a helping hand to move forward. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
Now, security, where the police in Delta State have confirmed the abduction of a Catholic priest in the state. Father Christopher Ogaga was abducted in Aragba in Okbel, government area of the state. Commissioner of Police in Delta, Mohammed Mustafa, confirmed the priest's kidnap to newsmen in Warri. Mustafa said the operatives of the command had begun a search to ensure the safe release of the victim. And also in Zamfara State, the police have arrested members of 6 kidnapping and robbery gang operating between Kaduna and Zamfara States. The police spokesman, Juma Moshood, says the suspects include 3 commanders of bandits and those behind the recent kidnap of a Muslim cleric in Kaduna. He told journalists in a border town between Kaduna and Niger State that no fewer than 22 AK-47 rifles were recovered from the suspects. Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
You're not the only one, there are others.
Okay. After parading them, then they go back to the society to.
Okay. I think the answer is not far-fetched. You have been following us. We've been parading this before the public, before television, before photojournalists and others. If you have been seeing any recycled suspects that were released and come back, you will have been able to establish and point them out. You can equally check your records and see the names that have been mentioned, that have been listed, that have been paraded. So the police will never do such an action of arresting suspects and releasing them. Every suspect arrested have the right, when being taken to court, to say their own part of the story. And it is now, the police is not the judge. Police actually terminate where matters are taken to court. Then the judiciary, as partner in the criminal justice system, equally have role to play. And they have responsibility for a judge or magistrate to use high-level discretion in determining what should be the punishment for an offense. And nothing is an offense except what is stated in the law to be an offense, and the law stating the offense will state the procedure, minding the fact that every Nigerian is entitled to a fundamental human right. Even if he's been alleged or arrested for any offense, we have to take such to court. We can't take laws into our hand. And we have trained police officers across board. The Inspector General of Police have equally directed further training of police officers on human rights and not to be emotional about suspect being arrested, because it is quite natural for any officer of the law that have arrested suspect of armed robbery, of kidnapping, or even rape to be carried away. But with the resources of the force is being used to ensure that the behavior of our officer conform with the international best practices and standards. So we charge them to court, and if they are released in court, then it's beyond the Nigerian police force. The force, the bar, and the bench have the responsibility to continue to work together. But we are very hopeful that the judiciary will see the need when all the suspects are arraigned, and for them to be punished appropriately. Thank you.
Moving on to some economic stories, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has set aside 220 billion naira to be disbursed as loans to cooperative organizations under Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Fund. CBN spokesman Azi Okorafo announced that the plan in Gombe during the bank's program on promoting financial stability and economic development. He said the loan was specifically set aside to encourage artisans, especially those engaged in organizing works, hairdressing and barbing, amongst others. The Nigerian automotive industry has got a boost with the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Volkswagen Group. This is with a view to developing a joint vision for an automotive hub in the country. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Onalama, said this in a statement in Abuja on Monday. Onalama signed the MOU on behalf of Nigeria, while the head of the Volkswagen Sub-Saharan region, Thomas Schaefer, signed on behalf of the group. According to him, Volkswagen is to implement a phased approach to assembling vehicles in the country. He said this would start from assemblage of kits with the long-term view of establishing Nigeria as an automotive hub on the West African coast. You're watching PTV Today. Keep up with our news by downloading our app. It's PTV Nigeria on Android and iOS. You can also watch us live on via our website. It's www.ptvng.com/live. Also follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter at PTV_NG.
So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go, anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Welcome back. Now to the foreign scene, where polling for presidential election kicked off Tuesday in Pakistan, with 3 candidates competing for the slot of the 13th president of the country for the next 5-year term. The ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party fielded Arif Alvi. Pakistan People's Party chose Azaz Ashan, while joint opposition comprising of other political parties, including Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz, has fielded Fazal-ur-Rahman to compete for the seat of the president. Local analysts believe that the PTI's candidate Alvi has fair chances to win, as the party has the highest number of seats in the National Assembly, the lower house of the parliament, and also a majority in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Punjab provinces. Besides having the support of the ruling party in Balochistan province, according to the Constitution of Pakistan, members of the Senate, the National Assembly, and 4 provincial assemblies will vote for the post. Polling stations have been set up in all 4 provincial assemblies, whereas lawmakers from the National Assembly and Senate will poll votes in a joint session of Parliament in Islamabad. Nigeria Chinese President Xi Jinping has announced a total of $60 billion of financing to Africa. Xi said this in a keynote speech at the opening ceremony of the 2018 Beijing Summit of the Forum on Africa, China-Africa Cooperation. He explained that the financing will be provided in form of government assistance as well as investment and financing by financial institutions and companies. The Chinese president also said that China will exempt certain African countries from the outstanding debts incurred in the form of interest-free Chinese government loans due by end of 2018. The exemption, he said, will be granted to Africa's least developed countries, heavily indebted and poor countries, landlocked and small islands developing countries that have diplomatic relations with China. He also said China will implement 8 major initiatives with African countries in the next 3 years and beyond. Still on the China-Africa conference now, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has dismissed allegations that China is out to colonize Africa. He argued that Chinese have instead been a good partner in boosting social and economic development on the continent. Ramaphosa made the remarks in a speech delivered at the opening ceremony of the 2018 Beijing Summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. Ramaphosa, who is on a state visit to China until Wednesday, said FOCAC is concerned with a lot more than trade and investments. The European Union has announced new funding of 138 million euros for humanitarian assistance and development in the Lake Chad region. The EU Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Management, Christos Stylianides, made the announcement in Berlin according to a statement issued in Abuja. He added that it was part of an overall EU aid package for the region worth 232 million euros. Stylianides said the new funding would help vulnerable communities in the four countries of Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon caught up in the insurgency. Still on the Lake Chad crisis now, the UN humanitarian chief Mark Lowcock has meanwhile expressed optimism that over $1 billion would be pledged or collected in fresh aid at a conference of donors to the drought-plagued region around Lake Chad. A famine was averted in the region last year, largely thanks to the international aid, but millions of people in Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon were still in the dire need of help. He disclosed this on the sidelines of the Berlin conference. The UN official added that the crisis is not over. According to him, there are still 10 million people in need of life-saving assistance. And in sports now, the Confederation of African Football has appointed Kenyan referee David Omweno to officiate the Super Eagles clash against the Pirates of Seychelles at the Stade Dilde on Saturday in Victoria. The 34-year-old Kenyan Omweno will have as his first assistant referee his compatriot Gilbert Churiyot, while Uganda's Mark Sonko will act as assistant referee. Omweno was among the 2 referees suspended by CAF for three months in 2016 for poor performance. The Kenyan referee was accused of ruling out a legitimate goal scored by Libya in their 1-0 loss to Tunisia in November 2016. Nigeria third in the Group E with no point after losing 2-0 to South Africa in their opening game 14 months ago, while Libya and South Africa are joint leaders in the group with 3 points. Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric, and Mohamed Salah are the finalists for Best FIFA Men's Player Award for 2018. There's no place for Barcelona and Argentina forward Lionel Messi in the shortlist. There was also no place for any member of the France World Cup winning squad, Lyon's Champions League winning duo Ada Hagerberg of Norway and Germany's Jesny Farr Marozan are the finalists for the Best FIFA Women's Player alongside Brazil's forward Marta. For more on sports, let's join Francis Etuko.
In football, Bayern Munich president Uli Hoeneß has fired off a volley of criticism at PSG sports director Antero Henrique in an interview on Monday. This is against backdrop of deeds by the French club for Bayern defender Jerome Boateng and Portuguese international Renato Sanchez over the summer. Hoeneß claims Henrique behaved poorly in his negotiations for both players, although he did not go into details. The 29-year-old Boateng has been interested by PSG's project under new German coach Thomas Tuchel, but Bayern put a €50 million price tag on him, with the French offer falling short of that. Bayern Munich also say they struck a deal for Sanchez, but that PSG then tried to bargain them down afterwards. Still on football, France's World Cup winning manager Didier Deschamps, Zlatko Dalic and Zinedine Zidane have been nominated as the finalists for the FIFA's Coach of the Year award. Deschamps became just the third man to win the World Cup as a player and coach, with victory over Dalic's Croatia in July's final in Russia. Zidane was a teammate of Deschamps when France first won the World Cup in 1998 and is nominated after guiding Real Madrid to third Champions League in his 2.5-year stint at the Bernabeu before stepping down in June. In cricket, England's highest test run scorer Alistair Cook is to retire from international cricket after this week's final test against India. The 33-year-old opener scored 12,254 runs and made 32 centuries in 160 tests, all England records. Cook is sixth on the all-time list of test run scorers and has made a record 11,627 runs as an opener. However, he has struggled this year, averaging 18,062 in 16 innings and has not scored a 50 in the current series against India. The cricketer said he will continue playing country cricket and can't wait to get fully involved with Essex in 2019 after signing a 3-year deal. The Palestinian Football Association has vowed to file an appeal against FIFA's 12-month ban for comments made about Lionel Messi. It described it as an unjust and political decision. FIFA last month banned Jibrin Rajov from attending matches for a year and fined him 20,000 Swiss francs for inciting hatred and violence after calling on fans to burn pictures and jerseys of Messi in the build-up to a friendly game with Israel. The game was later cancelled after Argentina withdrew, but speaking in his first press conference since the ban was announced, Rajov denied any wrongdoing. In tennis, third seed Juan Martín del Potro on Sunday's steamrolled Croatia's Borna Coric 6-4, 6-3, 6-1 as the US Open to set up a quarter-final clash with American John Isner. The Argentine sent down 9 aces and 33 winners to seal a one-sided victory over the 20th seed in just over 2 hours. The Croatian needed a medical timeout in the second set and was blown away by Del Potro in the third in just 30 minutes. The Croatian needed a medical timeout in the second set and was then blown away by Del Potro in the third in just 30 minutes. Next up for Del Potro is the 11th seed Isner, who won his second 5-setter of the tournament to see of Canada's Milos Raonic early in the day. Still on tennis, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic will be one step away from a mouth-watering quarter-final clash when the US Open resumes later on Monday. Federer, who is on the second seed, takes on Australian John Millman in the last 16 in the day's final match at the Outer Arch Stadium, while 6-seeded Djokovic faces unseeded Portuguese João Sousa. Federer won his only other career meeting with Millman in 3 sets in Brisbane 3 years ago, while Djokovic, the Wimbledon champion, has never lost to Sousa in 4 meetings. Men's 7-seed Marin Cilic, who came through a marathon 5-setter against Australian teenager Alex de Minaur on Saturday, resumes his quest for a second US Open crown against Belgian 10th seed David Goffin. 6-time champion Serena Williams has survived a spirited challenge from unseeded Kaia Kanepi to triumph 6-0, 4-6, 6-3 to reach the quarterfinals of the US Open. The 23-time Grand Slam champion looks set to ramp home when she sees the first set from Kanepi in just 18 minutes. But the hard-hitting Estonian, who took out world number 1 Simona Halep in the first round, settled down in the second set, shaking off the partisan crowd in a jammed Outer Arch Stadium to push Williams the rest of the way. Williams finished with 18 aces and 47 total winners. Defending champion Sloane Stephens, for her part, eased past LC Martin 6-3, 6-3 to book a quarter-final rematch with Latvian Anastasia Zebastova.
That's all we have for you on the news. Many thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. Is PTV_NG on Instagram and Twitter. You can also download our mobile app via the Google Play Store and iOS. It's PTV Nigeria. Watch us live on our website, www.ptvng.com/live. Keep watching People's Television. I am Daniel Wamboso.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
Hello viewers, welcome to this edition of the Darling Program Banking and You. I'm your regular host, Jerry Ojono.
One of the reasons for the crowd in the banking hall